If there's any episode that you go into the comments and you share your thoughts on and you start a conversation on, like, make this the one.
Welcome to another episode of Nothing's Ever That Serious.
Yep.
We got a sign.
We do.
And we got some hats now.
Y'all got some hats.
Yeah, we got some hats. We placed an order for some Nothing's Ever That Serious hats. They asked us how many do we need. We figured since we only have 2 key members on this podcast, we told them 2 is good for now. But don't worry, we're gonna place an order for some more very soon.
And you should have saw when the package came in. Drew was like, "Y'all really skipped me?" And I said, "You can have mine." So
yeah. But no, we're gonna order some more, and pretty soon you guys are gonna be able to order some.
You too can own a piece of the Nets.
Yes. Continue to like and subscribe. Continue repping our podcast. We're growing little by little.
We're rock stars.
Yeah.
People are getting noticed here.
Yeah, people are getting noticed. Somebody got where'd you say you were
our most famous member.
Yeah, our most famous member
has been scouted 5 times now?
Apparently Guru's been out and
he be outside. Hashtag Guru outside, man.
So I've been recognized a few times in public. The first being
you were on a date, weren't you?
Slide dog.
You got to change up the story a little bit because your circumstances have changed since the first recognition. You were out with your mom.
Yes, I was out with my mom, and a gentleman walked up to me. Mm-hmm. It was in like a frantic pace. It was he was very like on a mission. You could tell. Mm-hmm. Restaurant was about to close.
It was dark out too,
right? It was dark.
Because you and your mom were sitting outside holding hands.
by the waterfall.
Yeah.
We were, but that's a normal thing we've been doing. So we were sitting here, thought we were about to get kicked out the restaurant. Mm-hmm. He pointed at me, he said, "Nets Podcast, right?" And I said, "Yeah, Nets Podcast." And he said, "I love what you guys are doing. Keep it up. You guys are my favorite. I listen to every episode." And then he ran off.
You should have quizzed him. You know, what's your favorite episode? He'd be like, the one where you guys,
right.
Get out of here. Scram.
And then my mom was like, "Wow, I didn't realize like your podcast was that big." At first, I didn't realize your podcast was that big of a thing. Mm-hmm. She was kind of impressed.
And she, wait, hold on.
She put her hand on my knee. And I said, "Yeah, Mom, I'm making you proud."
She was like, I'm proud to be your mom, but this kind of put me over the edge a little bit. Now I'm really proud to be your mom.
So I said, "Yeah."
Nice.
I said, "Have you been recognized yet?"
Man, my family's starting to recognize me now. That's a plus, but not in the street.
Right.
Not in the street.
Yeah, I've yet to be recognized. Who's the most recognizable person on this show? I think I am.
I would actually say it is Guru.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think it's me, which is why it surprises me that I've been recognized literally like 4 times in public now.
He has the most distinct features.
Because you got recognized at Chipotle too, right?
I got recognized in Chipotle. I was making my burrito bowl. Mm-hmm. Just randomly this time, he said, "You have a podcast, don't you?"
I do think it's dope that you got recognized. Mm-hmm. And I was telling Guru that I wouldn't necessarily want that to happen.
To get famous and be recognized in the streets?
I just don't want to be like, if I'm going to get a cheeseburger, I just want to get my cheeseburger. Mm. You know? But when he described how his happened, I was like, that's cool, because they just said it and just went on by his day.
You just move on. You don't. I didn't say anything else about it. It's just like we just moved on. Like
that'll be cool. I do get a lot of reports about you, though.
Really?
Yes. People will reach out to me about you a lot. So I will say that.
In a good way?
I don't know what way.
Girls?
Yeah, a lot of my girls.
Okay.
It ain't about your looks, though. So
I would say people reach out to me about you as well.
Really?
They think you have a very interesting. You're an interesting person. I'll leave it there.
Do you mean because I don't fit like the social constructs and I just say anything?
No, it ain't that deep, buddy.
I'm saying what people are thinking. So
no, it's just like I can't with Drew. I can't because it's like you so out of here, man. Right. You know. So the feedback I get is about you being crazy. Right. But it's in a good way. Okay. They're entertained. So.
Yeah. Speaking of being recognized, I watched this movie this week. Netflix just released You People. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, yep.
With Jonah Hill.
Eddie Murphy.
Lauren London.
Nia Long. We got some hitters in here.
Yeah. And I really enjoyed it. And I was cracking up laughing.
I'm going to see it this week.
Okay. You haven't seen it yet? You know, naturally, when you watch a funny movie or a good movie, you want to talk to somebody about it. I came home one day and Guru and his mom were watching it, and they were pretty snuggled up. So I was happy they were watching it, but I said I'm not gonna interrupt. I'm gonna let them finish the movie, and then I'm kind of gonna get his feedback on it. Did you and your mom?
I just don't understand why it's weird that I have movie nights with my mom.
Oh man, yeah. So I asked Guru what he thought about the movie, and I was like, "That was funny, right? That part was good, right?
Right.
Right?
Cosign.
Yeah, I needed that cosign." And he just had like this grumpy face, like he was mad.
Okay.
He felt violated. And I was like, Guru, what's wrong? Mm-hmm. What's wrong? You know, he didn't have the same experience that I had.
Okay. What say you, Guru?
I did feel violated.
Okay.
Just wasn't my favorite film. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it's a film that pushes kind of a message and a certain narrative behind it. Mm-hmm. And I just didn't necessarily agree with what was being portrayed.
Mm. You understand like what for them at home who also haven't had a chance to see it yet, you kind of get the gist of what it's about.
Yes.
Yeah, Jonah Hill, his character plays somebody who's like really interested in the black culture. Okay. We kind of talked about this on the Chappelle episode at the end. People outside of the black culture appreciating the culture. Yeah. Like there's nothing wrong with that. Mm. That was Jonah's character, and he meets Lauren London's character, and they kind of vibe off of that. Mm. They ended up getting a little bit more serious, and they got engaged, and it just kind of shows like, having a different background or being an interracial couple, just like some of the challenges from that. I thought they did a good job of it. Mm. And, when we were talking about it, I think something that kind of stood out to me, you said that you felt that
the movie is anti-black love.
Yeah. And I said, Dr. Umar has entered the chat. As a matter of fact, I released a reel because last year we did a Black History Month episode, which in its entirety, I really liked how that one came together. Mm-hmm. We highlighted some black figures that were impactful in our lives. Mm-hmm. I talked about my experience, how my parents were immigrants, and I kind of had to learn what y'all went through. You poor guys. And so we had a really good talk, and I talked about how I went to the
Black History
Museum.
My bad.
The Museum of
the African American
National African. We can't mess this up because this is
Google it, make it sure. But it's the
they got black stuff in there. It's the museum with the black. It's next to the Holocaust, but they got the black stuff in there, and then it's next to the Air and Space Museum.
African American History Museum, right? Okay.
The National Museum of African American History.
Yeah, so if you haven't had a chance to watch that episode, go watch that episode. But I thought it would be funny to cut a little clip because I made a joke about how I felt guilty for having a white girlfriend
during Black History Month.
And sure enough,
you got some feedback.
Yeah, I got some feedback on it, and he was like, "You can't highlight black pride and be stepping outside your race." So you're not alone in these sentiments that you share, and I've actually been hearing it a lot lately. Charlemagne's been talking about it from the Breakfast Club. I've had both, but I've had a couple interracial relationships in my life. So I was always curious as to how people responded to me.
Did you feel anything like in your relationship? Did you ever go somewhere? And
yeah, I felt proud. I was like, I got me away. I thought that was, I called my mom. I was like, Mama, I made it.
You said, Mom, I got one.
I got one.
But I mean, I'm talking about like negative, like if you was.
But I was gonna say, but we talked about that, how that was my ignorance at the time, and I had to learn, about like appreciating, like who I am as a person. I'm trying to clean up that joke, so that people don't leave. But I was serious. No, I'm just kidding.
Yo, what were you saying? No, sometimes they don't know when you make a joke.
Right, because I deliver it seriously.
Right.
But I'm just joking that I thought it was bad.
on behalf of the next podcast, Andy was just making a joke.
Y'all got to put up
not to
like
be
on y'all screen the views
Disclaimer.
of views of Andy are not
the views of Andy are not exactly
right
reflective of.
But you mean, did I get negative feedback from black people? Or did I feel...
No, not just black people.
Or white people.
White people, they get on you too.
Yeah.
And she could have felt it more.
Right. Yeah. No, we did feel that. And that's a good question, because that's probably why I was curious what people thought. Like, what did her parents think? So, yeah, that's why I always thought it was interesting.
What did they think?
Because you mentioned in the episode, we was talking about percentages of when you meet people's parents, that you actually... went in the lion's den. It
right.
was,
like I would win them over.
Yeah, like they was like kind of racist.
Yeah, they were like, be careful. Like, my mom and dad are cool. They're more progressive, but Granny, we haven't quite got her there yet. But like by the end of the family gathering, she's like, what did she say? She was like, I like that. Bring that boy back. I think is what she said. Bring that boy back. Yeah, that's what she said. Bring that boy back. He's a good boy. Does that answer your question? How did I feel about, or how did they perceive it?
I said that's not what I asked, but
no, like, you said how did they feel about it?
Yeah,
I think.
Let me rephrase this question, because I really don't care. I don't care necessarily about how they felt. I'm more curious of how she felt in the situation.
I don't know if I was her first black boyfriend, so I don't know if she was even processing it at the time it was happening. Okay. Like, I think she genuinely liked me.
Did she break up with you, or did you break up with her?
She broke up with me.
They got to a guru.
And then she did date a white guy, like, right after.
Damn.
And she married a white guy and had, like, 10 white babies. But at the time, I don't think she ever looked at it like, I have a black boyfriend.
Gotcha.
But I would be interested to know how she's processed that post that relationship, Do
you think it's possible to not notice it, though?
Because it was in college, and you know how colleges are on campus. So it's like...
It's contained. Yeah.
So maybe if we had went out into the community, maybe she would have felt some type of way. But most of our interactions was contained onto the campus.
So you're someone that you don't feel like... Or black culture didn't really impact your life as much until later in life.
Right.
There's just certain black experiences you don't share with, or you hadn't shared at the time,
right? With
just, I guess, the African American community,
right?
So you don't necessarily carry. I'm not going to keep saying at this time, but just so that makes sense,
right?
We understand you move.
Yeah, I thought I was white at that time. Yeah.
So I'm not going to keep repeating that. Just putting that out there. So,
I would have gave you credit for that, but you don't like that.
What did I say before we started recording? That I was sleep deprived and a little delirious.
He's delirious. He's going on no hours of sleep and 3 bangs.
So I just want to put that in because this is, and I think Chappelle even said that this topic is kind of like people don't like you to joke, and I think that's kind of like where you're going. Like I'm making light of. It seems like your struggle.
That's not where I'm going.
Nah, that's where you're going. You know
okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, you can joke about it all you want. What I'm saying is because of that, like, there's certain things being a black person that you carry that, like Jay said, you've never noticed it.
Right.
Like, I can't not be in a relationship with someone and have certain conversations. Like, it's impossible for me. Or, like, blackness is who I am.
Right.
You know?
Like, my cousins immigrated over here, like, started in this country in, like, high school or, like, middle school. So they kind of had similar experiences where we're learning this stuff, like, on the fly. Like, my mom didn't know about African-American history. You know, she's winging it. And we talked about this. Like, apparently, like, police aren't kind to black people. So, be respectful, be kind. Right. But, like you're saying, like, I didn't carry that, like...
I mean, I grew up in a black community, but the school I went to was pretty split down the middle.
Okay.
And in high school, I was just a high school boy who liked girls. I didn't care. It's just like at that point in my life. And it wasn't even that I hadn't even experienced racism or saw things, but
right.
Punab is Punab. So it's just like
Hold up, yo.
Hold on.
He said poo nab. What's your? What you Gen Z? The Gen Z or something? No, you a millennial. That one new. Poo nab.
He said poo nab.
He said poo nab is poo nab.
I didn't want to say anything too inappropriate.
Poo nab.
But
hey, hashtag guru get poo nab, man.
Hashtag guru be outside. Hashtag
guru get poo nab.
Okay.
So, as I've gotten older, though, like I said, it's such a huge part of me, and as I understand more about the world and just things, just what it means to me to be black and just whatever, like.
The poo nab is different.
I cannot be in a relationship and it not be a topic of conversation, whether it's white, black, whatever. Mm-hmm. So it's just what I'm saying is the question I was really going to is now today entering into those relationships.
But why? Why? Like who's coming up to you being like, or is this an internal feeling or is it external? Because like I really need to know because I get the microaggressions. I'm not insensitive to harboring those, feelings or like that experience. I'm not Candace Owens is basically what I'm trying to say. I'm not making light of it. But like, who's coming up to you and like saying something? Like there's people who are like claiming all these injustices and I know that there's injustices. So it's like I'm sounding like Candace Owens, but what I'm saying is I know it's real, but who's saying something to you?
I'm not talking about injustices.
Okay.
That's not the conversation I'm having.
Right.
But as a black man, like I am a certain person and a being and I move in a certain way because I'm black. And
you're a man who's black.
Yeah.
And you're a black man, but I'm saying you like I guess I need to let me shut up and listen. What's happening inside you that you have to have these conversations? I guess I need to know a little bit deeper. You're saying I'm feeling this, and there's conversations that need to be had, and I guess being white, I need to know. What I'm saying is there's
as a white man.
As a white man, I need to know
a huge part of my identity.
Right.
Is based in blackness.
Right.
So I'm not saying we need to have racial conversations. I'm not saying I need to be like, yo, this person's racist or this, you need to understand this racist system. However, you need to understand facets of blackness in order to ever fully understand who I am as a person.
And that was your major critique about the film. You felt like Jonah could never support Lauren's character because he didn't have the black experience.
So this is my issue with that film.
Okay.
I have no issue with interracial relationships when they come from the proper
You're
place.
safe, buddy.
Am I right?
Am I right?
Interracial, am I right? Huh? You gonna leave me hanging on this one?
So,
guys,
toast.
I've had a lot of maturity growing up in my life, so I'm going to speak some things that are very immature from the past. Okay. I used to say I would date a white girl, but I would never marry one. Like truly, that was my mindset growing up.
I wanted to apologize to behalf of my snow bunnies for you saying that you using them.
Like I said, we've matured. So I'm a huge proponent of black love. However, there's not a lot of good representations of black love out there in media and entertainment, just in the world. Because of that, whenever something comes out kind of portraying what black love can be or interracial love or whatever, I am very critical of it. And I think this movie in particular, while it was portraying interracial love, I thought it was kind of downplaying and putting a bad light on black love. And I didn't like it at all. And I didn't necessarily enjoy where their relationship was coming from and the lessons they were trying to push of like, get over these differences and things like this. Like, it's a good message, but where it was coming from me was very like kind of ignorant and tearing down what I thought ideal black love is.
It was a comedy though.
It was, but it also was very much like trying to make a point in.
But we do that.
We do, but I think we make good points. I don't think the points.
I just said I was white.
What do you mean?
I've been saying that
you are a white man.
I've been saying that I'm a white man to drive home the point that I have a different experience than the African American person.
Yes.
So it's like on the screen.
I agree with that.
It's gonna make somebody feel a certain way, but it's for entertainment and it's for a movie. But it's still you still get the point.
Yeah, but I don't think the point they made was a good point. I think it was a destructive point. Like I don't think it was a. I think
that
it was
people should get over.
I think that
differences.
movie truly was poison. I think the ideas it was putting out into the world weren't proper ideas.
And when when you say that you white,
right.
you just giving a background to why you think like you do,
right.
But you not telling somebody that they should think like you.
But I don't feel like the movie was telling you how you should think. I think the movie.
Me either, because I didn't see it. But I'm just talking about for you.
I think that the movie was. Because you thought it was surface level, and I agreed, but I thought it was purposely done on the surface. I don't think that they were trying to fill in conversation starters. I felt like they were just trying to like start the conversation.
So here's the thing.
I don't think they were trying to be deep.
We talked about this, but in not trying to be deep, when you present an idea, people grab it and they say, oh, I understand this now, or my mindset has been widened or whatever. And now you're grasping onto something that's not even a real idea or the full
But
thing.
you can't control that.
This
Somebody watches you people
This
and
is the
thinks
whole
that they
issue
can...
with woke culture nowadays.
Right.
All these people now have seen the work, seen all this stuff. They think they're woke. They think they understand. And I think it's more poisonous than it is helpful because I don't think they at all touch what it really means to be black or in those relationships.
I get what you're saying.
So this is my issue. If we talk about Jonah Hill's character, no, they didn't. If we talk about Jonah Hill's character from the start of the movie, he completely, everything he does proves that he is not in a place to cater to a black woman.
Okay.
And what a black woman's experience is and things she's gone through.
You haven't seen the movie.
I haven't.
You share a similar experience to Guru. Did you grow up?
I am too.
You grew up playing baseball, right?
I too am a black man.
Okay.
And
me too.
Without seeing the movie, one point I do agree with Guru is it does seem like if it comes to what a black relationship or a marriage or solid relationship looks like, we don't get that as much.
Portrayed in film.
Yeah.
But people of color being portrayed on film is new in general.
Technically, it's new, but it's been going on long enough now to where it's like,
well, I'm saying
that can't be an excuse for not having like black families.
But that's not what the movie was about.
Representation outside of film isn't there.
The movie was about an interracial couple. So how could there be representation of strong black love
this is
in an interracial relationship?
Because I think the movie's story was built off of saying what black love isn't. Like, I think they were trying to portray this love as being better than what black love is because there's no good representations of black love. And they were taking these...
Interesting. How did they do that?
So this is how I
sounds like you watched a different movie than I did.
Yeah, and
but I like what's happening here because I've had so many conversations with people because I'm all about mindfulness and like understanding that your own personal perspective and your experience is causing you to view the same different thing multiple different ways. So it's interesting that we watched the same movie. I'm sitting there dying laughing like really enjoying the dialogue and the themes and Guru's just like throwing Popeye's chicken at the screen like
so there was no point it was no point in the no, that's crazy. Please cut that. But there was no point in the movie, so kind of like from the start you were just like, man,
from the jump.
Okay, so any of the jokes or nothing like you didn't like chuckle or nothing like that?
I will get that to you. The jokes were, and I told you this because you haven't seen it yet. Movies gotta exaggerate stuff.
Yeah, like that's Hollywood.
Yeah,
I'm not even gonna act like that don't exist.
And it's a comedy.
Okay.
So for example,
they go over the top with some stuff. Okay.
For example, like Jonah Hill's mom, like her character, she plays the woke person that he's talking about, who's trying to take an interest in the community, but she has. I don't even want to say her heart was in a good place. She was just naive.
Okay.
So like a lot of things she says, a lot of things she does is portraying this person who's I guess, trying to do the right thing, but just has no idea.
She completely missing the mark, doing the most. Okay, okay.
And I'm following. And they were exaggerating it like big time. And I can see how like some people wouldn't think that's funny because it does happen in real life.
That's the line too, man. Because it's like, how serious do I take it, knowing it's a comedy? It might not be my type of comedy, or I might not think it's funny. I'm like,
right.
Well, my gripe is much deeper with it, and this is my thing. Okay. Like Drew was having the surface level conversation. Every point he brings up goes back to the surface level.
Okay.
And what I'm saying is this issue is so deeper than that. That's what I'm saying by creating these surface level stuff. The conversation goes to surface level stuff, and it's not even about.
Get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
So what it's about to me is pretty much the idea of what it means to be black today is based in a lot of trauma. It's literally born from
negativity in history,
pretty much. So, and it's born from making things better and kind of growing, but a lot of it still is based off of like the bonding over this trauma and where it's kind of put us, and like that is a part of being black. However, I think a lot of it is based in keeping us in these past ideals that are built off of oppression and all this stuff.
Okay.
So because of this, a lot of black people kind of get stuck and trapped in that mindset.
Okay.
It bleeds into everything we do. So one of the places it bleeds into is black love.
Wait, what do you mean? Who's doing this now?
Racism and a lot of things and all that stuff have kind of created it. But I think now it's
You're saying it's a negative to still view the black experience.
We didn't start the fire. However, we are stuck what's in the word? I don't know. I'm not a camper. However you keep a fire going, like we're still keeping it going.
You need to come hang out with us white people. We'll take you camping.
What's the word? Like, I don't know. What do you call like keeping a fire going? Who cares? Pretty much where I'm going with this is because of this, there aren't a lot of good, proper representations of what black love is. And I think a lot of people get in these situations, and when they experience a certain type of love, their first mindset isn't like, oh, this is what black love is. It's like, oh, this is weird. Like this isn't what I'm used to black love being, or they attribute it to like, oh, this isn't what black love can be. I don't know what it is. And I felt like that's kind of how that movie was portraying that interracial relationship, in a sense of it was filling holes that black love could never fill, because that's not the representation that's been put out of what black love can be. So I think Lauren London in that movie, her character was kind of attracted to certain traits in this white man because she didn't view them necessarily. It was something new or unique, or wasn't necessarily black. And that's kind of what it felt like the interracial relationship was built upon.
So like I can't find this in a black guy.
Question for you.
Hold on.
Yes.
Okay.
Wait.
So you being in white relationships, I'm about to say something crazy. Okay. This is absolutely
you ever been
crazy.
To Burger King? You're getting charbroiled.
Okay.
So you being in white relationships,
having been in white relationships,
having dated white women. Something I've noticed.
And black women.
So I have talked to white women. I know, but right now, the white woman's the only thing that matters. I have talked to white women. I went to PWI, and that was the population. Right? Before I went there, I hadn't talked to any white woman. And I went there, I talked to some white women. And even
how'd you feel?
And even talking to friends and other things like that, and hearing experiences. And talking to other white women, something I've realized, and even talking to white men and this, that, and the other.
Okay.
I think white men, because of how this world was built, they just have a different outlook on life. They treat people differently. And even if we want to talk about Christian values, like Christian white men on top of that, have they back a lot of
there's an element of what we would say is like
claim to be Christians.
I'm talking like your beliefs and how you view the world of like what I'm entitled to and things like that.
Okay, I got you.
And you even, and I brought Christian men because I went to a PWI, but they back a lot of their false beliefs and fallacies with scripture and the Bible and God, so that makes it even worse. But this is
in the beginning, God created two white people.
Even this is based in a lot of like toxic masculinity and other things, and you can compare this to feminism and sexism. You can compare this to like sexism in history and too, how women feel. But it's like they treat relationships different as well.
Okay.
Very different than how black people would treat
Based
relationships.
on this, I kind of know what you're going to ask me. You're going to say, did I feel like something different to these white women than...
Yes, because I've had conversations with them, and they view certain things I do or say or move or think as something they've never experienced before. And they're like, wow. Sense. Because the white man truly does not have. But I thought I was
white at the time, so how...
I know.
In your defense, you were a white man.
So that's why I'm asking which side you kind of.
So I wasn't like, I'm your first black guy. I just thought they were.
I'm your next white guy.
I'm your next white guy.
No, for real. To Guru's point,
that is a good question.
There is a thing where it can be seen as like I'm being rebellious. I'm about to go get with this black dude.
All right, can I tell you my takeaway?
Yeah.
From the white man's experience.
What's say the white man?
All right. So as a white person watching you people, I'm not discrediting the last thing that you said, but to me, like black love, okay, I understand that there's something to appreciate about dating somebody who has like the same, I guess, core as you. But like love, I think transcends like race and yes. Because and so let me just preface it by saying that to me, Jonah Hill and Lauren connected because of his personality and his like she saw something in him, like he was authentic, he was unique to himself, even though he did appreciate like things of the black culture. Like he was still like himself. And I don't know if you remember, there was a joke. It was a black guy who ran up on her in the beginning and was like, you gonna call me? And she was like, I feel like you're not real. Like you just telling me stuff that you think I want to hear. He was just like, his character was representing just that guy that has no depth or whatever. Just all those guys like sliding in girls' DMs, like a Jay character. No, I'm just kidding. Jay has a lot of depth. But Jonah, I felt like to her, I don't feel like she was attracted to like superficial things about him. I think they had a genuine connection through their relationship. Like he was always supportive of her and he was always like caring and kind. And those are the things that are going to sustain love and relationship rather than like having the same cultural experience, and to your point again, like I feel like the women or the white women that were drawn to me was because they saw something in me, like, oh, this guy is like kind, or he's like my black ex who was on the show, she said that she was like, I could tell he was a genuinely good person.
Right. Okay.
To your point, like there was that like white girl who wanted to date like the black football player because it was like exotic or it was just, something like different than she had. It was fun. It was like, something new. Like
some experiment.
Exactly. Yeah. Like there was that, but I don't.
When you graduate.
Yeah, you back to where you came from, that was just when we was in college. Whoa, you thought I was gonna take you to the country club?
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't finish that point, so I don't want you to like keep going and misconstrued it.
But I'm just saying, for me, I felt like the girls that I dated were dating me for me and not.
Well, that's not what I was necessarily saying.
Okay.
What I was saying is there's this idea of you can get certain things from certain areas and groups and different people that you aren't able to get from your same, like, whether it be cultural background. It doesn't have to just be culture. It can be religion. It could be anything. So I think this movie was crafted in a way that I do think she was portrayed, and I don't think it was purposely, but I think she was portrayed as in, I've been in a environment of a very strict, very pro-black dad, a lot of pro-black scenarios, a bunch of black men who've kind of done me wrong. And now here I am seeing something that I haven't been able to get from a black space, and I'm receiving it. And I think that's how it did kind of the black space negatively. And that's what I'm saying. There aren't enough positive black representations. So now people are watching this movie and they're like, oh, let's
but that's a good
just
thing.
Love. And I also
y'all need to get over that.
This is the thing. And this is also
I like.
I don't want to trash the.
And that was kind of the theme of the movie, that Eddie Murphy's character never gave him a chance from the jump.
He's never deserved a chance.
Ooh,
everything he did,
this getting dangerous.
Everything he did from the jump of the movie was.
I thought we welcomed everybody on this podcast.
Everything he did from the jump of the movie was completely disrespectful to who she was as a black woman.
Why? Because he took them to Roscoe's.
Let's take a break. I better go watch.
Right? Look.
Hold on. We're gonna take a break, and Jay's gonna go watch it, and we're gonna come back.
Look, first time you meet the parents, you invite them to Roscoe's.
That was wild. When you told me that, that's wild.
And then you just throw up a bunch of crazy black stuff and can't even have a real conversation. He proved in 2 seconds that he doesn't even know how to talk to black people, and yet you're supposed to marry a black woman, possibly have children with her, and carry her through a world that's completely systematic and racist and tears her down and has never given her a chance at anything. You are not at a place to marry that woman. That's what I'm saying. I'm not against every interracial relationship, but Jonah Hill was a mess.
In this scenario,
he was an absolute mess when it came to black people. He didn't understand black culture or people at all.
Okay, but there's traumas. You talked about it coming from a place of like understanding the negative experience.
Yes.
There's negative experiences outside of race. There's negative experiences in, like, I had a negative spiritual experience.
I agree. And there's I said you and Hala shouldn't be together because of religion. I'm not putting it just on race.
But to your point, there's abuse or like other things like that. Say you get with someone who's been like abused. I don't know if you've ever experienced any type of abuse, but are you saying you can't support that person because you don't have the same experience as them?
No, but he showed that he didn't respect the experience. That's the thing.
How?
You have to have some sort of respect for or understanding.
But there's not. But how? Okay, so
you can learn an understanding, but you still have to.
It depends on what it is. If his parents, if they were like out and there was like a noose hanging and he just started making a joke and was putting it around their heads, that's one thing. But if he takes them to Roscoe's because he thinks that, you know, he just wants to make them feel comfortable and he likes it himself. He was trying to create like a bond or like a common thing. Like, I
gotta watch that, Joe, because that on paper that's crazy. No. But I'm sure they made it look fun.
And if you saw the first conversation he had he didn't even know how to talk to black people. Pretty much.
But what's wrong with that, though?
And then even, I think Eddie Murphy was right, even looking at his friends and being like, look at your friends. You got someone who stormed the Capitol. You have someone who's doing this. You're doing a podcast talking about this. He proved that he doesn't understand
now you're using the
black
exaggerations
culture.
To add to your point.
But to be fair, we're talking about the movie.
What are you talking about?
To be fair,
I'm not pulling anything that wasn't there.
He saw somebody on the street, and you know,
I'm trying to defend Jonah in real life like it's not a movie.
They showed.
This is the movie, the next review.
Relationship that did not work for me. And like I said, I'm not trashing every interracial relationship, but that one to me was garbage. It was complete and utter garbage.
So what you're saying is you're not negating the Poonan.
It was ridiculous, yo. I was so upset.
Despite this bad movie, you're not opposed to white Poonan.
I'm still personally, I see myself with a black woman, and now I'm at a place where I like solely kind of black women. But
congratulations.
I truly
good for you.
But that's just a preference.
Right.
I will say
we were kind of talking about that preference. We were talking about you see interracial dating or like more of like a preference rather than like a Dr. Umar, like stay within your race.
With that subject,
like it's betrayal.
I'm more so just everybody can do what they want. Just when you make a choice, just be respectful of the other side. So if you're a black dude, don't trash the sisters. Don't be trying to act like
I moved over here because
like this is better than you.
Yeah, that's why
type stuff. And if you a black woman, don't trash the dudes and being like, oh, I'm with a white dude. You can't, you know.
Yeah.
If you with who you with, just chill.
Right.
Just do your thing.
But interracial relationships,
but when you make it performative and all that stuff, that's when it's like, all right.
I think a lot of interracial relationships though are based out of that idea you're talking about of that other culture isn't able to provide me something, which is why I'm like, there has to be these better representations, because that's what everyone's basing it off of, I feel like. And I feel like that movie just,
I kind of feel bad for y'all a little bit.
went on top of that.
No, I'm not saying that that's
not in a negative way, because everybody's experience is different, and like, you should appreciate different experiences. But coming from an experience where this is sounding bad. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, like you said, we talked about in the beginning of the pod, my experience, I didn't carry a negative, like how people are portraying me. I thought I had this naive sense that I was just as much equal as anybody.
Got you.
So it's like I wasn't stepping outside of my house with a negative, what's the word? Or felt like people were viewing me negatively.
Okay.
I don't know. In a way, it troubles me that like you had that type of experience, or that like other people have that type of experience. I feel like there's enough white girls for all of us brothers to. No, I'm making a lot of jokes that I'm gonna cut.
I'm saying that I don't think there's anything wrong with interracial relationships. I think.
You are, though.
I'm saying people do trap themselves in that mindset. I said, like, there's this idea of blackness we trap ourselves in, and I think it is harmful. However, a lot of those relationships they're based out of not understanding what black love is. It's not, to me, so that's what I have an issue with.
Wait, can you explain what you explained it, but for the people at home and for me, can you explain do you understand what he means by black love?
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think I get what you're saying in relationships to what we're shown and what we're used to. You were making a point that in the movie, it's like they was playing up, if you're not with a black person, you can experience this.
This is my other issue.
Why would they say that?
Look, I saw this movie, but this is the thing. That's how
there was just
the theme is like
be pushing I've seen it so many times, and the way I saw that
there's
movie,
a problem.
That's what was
the theme was there was a problem.
I also know that Kenya Barris, the writer, the people who wrote this movie, Jonah Hill, Kenya Barris. Kenya Barris is missed. Kenya Barris has a lot of identity issues he's not worked through. If you watch anything he's put out, all you see is non-acceptance from the black community and trying to figure out where he fits in on both sides. And I think it's something he's still struggling with to this day. And he's giving us great stuff like Blackish. I'm not trashing him. I think he's a great, creator and filmmaker and that. But it's just like, I think there's so many people in this world who struggle with those issues of where they fit in this black and white world, and they haven't necessarily reached that freedom of black is so much more than this definition of black we've thrown out there and placed in places. So then when I see someone portraying these ideas of that, I viewed it as it was counter to this false idea of what black is. That's what I saw. But I'm saying you even know what black.
You keep saying black love though. Like, is there white love? No, that's a serious question.
I know, but that was hilarious because you're white. Is there white love? But I get that thing. You are slightly lost.
You just asked.
I am slightly lost.
The question you just asked was, do all lives matter? I know you understand that. So it's the same concept.
I see how you would think that my perspective is all lives matter.
I didn't say that was your perspective.
Okay.
You understand why you can't ask, do all lives matter? So I'm saying it's the same question. White love and all lives matter are the same thing.
I just get a little concerned when people, like, I understand being pro your culture and being proud, and I'm proud to be a black man, even though somebody on YouTube told me that I'm a blasphemous a black man. I'm proud to be black. I'm proud to be myself. I think there's a lot of individualism when you talk about cultural identity. I think there's a certain element of, like, you would probably say that Candace Owens and Kanye West are struggling with cultural identity because they're anti-black.
No.
They've decided.
Well, I think Candace Owens is a completely different story than Kanye.
But she's right. Okay, let's just use Candace Owens.
Because I would say Kanye.
She's decided, but people would say that she's struggling with cultural identity. I think the struggle is being in the middle, right? Or no?
You lost me with that question. of the struggle is being in the middle.
Your definition of struggling with cultural identity is not being pro-black.
No. You're saying there's freedom, you're an individual. I think there's an idea that there's not individualism in blackness. A lot of people believe because there's this shared experience, an idea of what black is, it kills the individual and the unique.
And that's what the movie was portraying. That's what Lauren London's character was. She was showing that she's not a black. I mean, she is a black, strong black woman, but she's an individual.
What I'm saying,
and like
I get what you're saying.
Everybody in the movie was treating her as if she was an idea of a person rather than a person.
What I'm saying is the movie was written by someone who has that idea. Black is portrayed as this one thing, and I can't be an individual.
Well, I don't want us to assume that we know
white woman,
what the mindset of the writer is, because we don't know them personally.
We can't assume what we know from the writer, but as I watched the movie, before I even know who wrote it, that's all I saw. And then I saw that, because I had these thoughts before I even knew who wrote it. Then I looked it up because we had the conversation, and I was like, oh, makes sense. It was literally, so it's not like that was, I literally saw that all over the movie from the jump. It, to me, is this idea of
but Kenya could be very pro-black, and you have no idea.
I think he is very pro-black.
Right.
I do. But I still think there's this idea of what black is. And there's a bunch of people who never fit into that, or were never truly accepted into it fully, or felt kind of threatened, or they couldn't be themselves by that. And because of that, they're in this place where they're like, I want my black to be heard. However, I don't think this idea of what black is truly is the full idea of black. I think black is so multifaceted and so expansive, and is a bunch of unique individuals. And that's why I think we need more representation of it out there, because these individuals are struggling because they think because they don't fit into that, they're not really accepted. So what I'm seeing is the idea of black love is, or what black should be, doesn't fit who I am as a person. So then I'm going to go find it in this white person who was completely disrespectful of everything I am. And so that's why I view it as you're trashing black love, because you're basing it off this idea of certain things that are what love is, and what black love is isn't something you can find in a black that relationship. That's what I was seeing. So
what do you think that when I find my white queen, do you think we're going to have real... Do you think that it's going to be limited because it's not black love? I'm just joking, I'm not, by the way.
He's, it's entertainment, people. But like I said, I don't care who, as long as you keep it cool.
No. Do you think that when I find my white queen, that it's going to be
that you would be limited?
Yeah.
Well, you said it yourself. It's a lot of the experiences and things you don't really hold. Right. So I don't know what you would really be missing.
Yeah.
But like it'd be different for.
Let me rephrase the question. Yeah. If Guru, if something happened to his eyes for a certain period of time, and he happened to fall in love, and the woman deceived him and told him and didn't reveal that she was white, and then his eyes get better. And he's like, well, I fell in love with you when I couldn't see. Do you think that their relationship would be limited because she's white?
So Guru put in his own words.
I can answer that question for you when he's done.
About how I don't want to remix your words, but he was saying earlier that
it doesn't even have to be about Guru. I want to know if you think that his love would be limited if he ended up marrying a white person.
But it is about what he wants and what he identifies with. That's why I say even with you, it probably is not a thing because you don't.
So you're saying so you're saying it's based on the person.
Yeah, I don't think it would.
Yeah, very much so. So if you're somebody who needs that,
I don't think you're someone who is
right.
I think you're someone who's very black.
And then that's what the movie was about. Eddie Murphy's character was very pro-black, very Muslim, wanted his daughter to be with somebody black, a strong black man who doesn't like white people, and that's like if that's what you need.
Was the movie saying that he didn't like white people, or he just didn't want her to marry somebody white?
Eddie Murphy.
But you also hear the argument that you'll hear that black people are being racist by being pro-black. They'll get accused of that. Right, and I'm not saying I agree
I'm
with that argument, but I'm saying like I can see how that would make sense based on what you're saying, or I would see how people would consider that based on what you're saying. To go into your life thinking that it bothered me that, like I said, I went to a PWI. It bothered me if there was a white woman who wouldn't even look my direction because she felt because
you was black,
I was black, it didn't meet the life that she, like she didn't know that. Like I could have been better than any guy that she ever met. But essentially, you're doing the same thing by saying that if there's a woman who doesn't understand certain things, or just by her understanding and her experience will offer me something that somebody else couldn't offer me, it's essentially doing the same. It's saying the same thing. So it's like segregating.
I don't think that's where he went with it.
It's like we live in two worlds, and I think that's, spoiler alert, that's what the realization that Jonah came to at the end. As much as we try to integrate and move past, like, we're such a mixed country, the United States, and so many different cultures. Essentially, people are just going to boil down to like their own communities and stay within their own communities. And sounds like when people go outside of it, some people are going to feel some type of way, and that's okay, I guess.
One, we
but
disagree.
Interracial relationships, all right.
We disagree on one big thing. That love is all you need to make a relationship work.
Right.
You will stand by that and fight for that.
I didn't say that because they portrayed Jonah's character.
I'm not talking about Jonah right now.
Okay, in real life?
Yeah.
I think what's going to make love work is a person's character. It has nothing to do with their race.
Hey, and Poonan.
Well, I'm saying love has so much to do more than just loving somebody. The truth of the matter is I can fall in love with anybody.
Right.
Tomorrow, if I'm not careful, I could catch feelings for a white girl. You know what I'm saying? So you can literally fall in love with absolutely.
Now you're talking.
That's your language.
You can fall in love with anybody. It's so
Did you turn me up? That came in clearer than anything you've said all night.
Now my ears are working. I was a little delirious before, buddy.
No, you can fall in love with anybody.
Right.
It's not hard to do. But that doesn't mean you should be in a relationship loving somebody for the rest of your life or whatever that time period is.
Why? Who says?
Because there are other things. If you want to be like, so if you want to talk about what is a successful relation, and I guess everyone defines this differently, but I would define it a way where I'm like, there is a certain relationship that's going to make you better, push you towards certain things. And
how do you know?
I think.
Now I'm asking serious questions.
No,
how do you know?
I truly think people put themselves in relationships that completely change their trajectory, or this is every relationship. Every relationship you put yourself in is going to completely change your trajectory through life, right? So any relationship you get in can either push you.
But how do you
more
know
toward being,
if you fell in love with a white woman tomorrow who was intelligent, who was career driven, who was funny?
I think I could have a wonderful relationship.
Understands culture.
I think I could have a wonderful relationship with them. Yes. However, I also know there are certain things I'm called to do and certain things I need to accomplish.
That's what I'm asking. Who told you this?
I know. I know who I am. I know what I was called to do. I know God's plan that I've been put on this earth to do.
You think God wants you to be with a black woman?
I don't know what my purpose is right now. However, I do think I have choices, and I do.
No, just that specifically. Do you think God wants you to?
Well, this is the thing.
He does.
I know because you're trying to change.
I know what you're trying to do.
No, I want to know. I told you I'm new to this.
Listen to what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm new to this.
There you go, buddy. Hey, there you go, buddy.
So based off of who I am, the things I've encountered, the things I'm pushing toward, and I know what I want to do. Like, I know.
I guess I'm passionate about this, so it's hard hearing hypotheticals. Like, I need to know
It's not a hypothetical.
Specifics.
This is the thing. A lot of people,
because I'm called to do stuff, but I don't think it matters who I fall in love with.
It does
to
matter
whether I
who
get
you
to
fall
that
in love with.
trajectory
100%.
or not. Do you
could date someone
think,
tomorrow and you could possibly never make it in your podcast journey because
because of their race,
because of their race, because of their religion, because of the way they get a quick temper, because they don't like something, because they're not motivated. All these things matter.
But I'm not going to let those things affect I ran into
but
issues
I'm saying
in my last relationship because.
And did that not affect your relationship? What are you talking about? It affected everything about you, Drew.
No, it didn't.
Yes, it did.
Then she moved to like Wisconsin.
Look, if you were in a relationship with someone, you could have been in a relationship with someone.
It was a.
And you could have been podcasting 5 times as much as you podcasted then. That's what I'm saying. So you can say it didn't change your trajectory, but
that has nothing to
did.
do with race. I think anybody.
I'm saying all these things matter.
No.
And
but
race does to the same extent.
I know, but I'm saying any woman is going to bother them if she wants to spend time, but you have something that you're prioritizing over that relationship.
All right, I'm not saying race affects every single aspect, but there's other things in your life that affect things, and race does affect certain things in your life.
And I'm not saying I need specific. You haven't given me one. We've had discussion on it. You haven't said one specific. He said like hypothetical. You're saying there's the internal need for you to want that, but you haven't given me one
specific. There is an understanding of who I am and how I move. The truth is, every way I move in life.
You see why I did that?
Has been
because I'm black. Like he doesn't want to have to explain that. You see the way I cut that U-turn? It's because I'm black. You see the way I ate my food? It's because I'm black and you don't understand because you have a different experience. Well, white women, it sounds like
that's
the white women he's dating got some more stuff going on.
This is the thing this is the thing.
If you were black, you would just understand.
This is the thing.
Why I put my pants on one leg at a time.
How long?
That's a good point though, right?
No, it's not, because this is the thing. If you live in
say you, Jay.
Okay, really quick, just to interject. So think of a scenario like this, right? What if tomorrow you had a life change, you went vegan, and you vow you never gonna eat meat ever again, and you looking to be in a relationship with somebody who shares that, and then a girl came along and.
You can't ask me that question because
you're not vegan.
Because I don't take up causes like that.
But I'm just saying.
But I'm saying that's a good question.
But people connecting it to Guru, if he's thinking long term, like what's going to line up with what work he's called to do, that may not be the best.
Do you believe we have a purpose?
And we had this debate with Hala too, because I was more open to us having that religious difference than she was, and they didn't understand that. So if I went vegan, or say the only time I think that those differences in relationships are different is if it affects you negatively, like in terms of like what you talked about, like oversensitivity or certain behaviors that would impact a person negatively.
Well, this is the thing. But like, I've seen them negatively affect you, Drew, and you're just saying, I mean, that's just the nature of relationships. It doesn't have to be the nature of relationships.
Like a religious difference or like a race difference? Yes. How? Give me an example. I'm still waiting for one concrete example. It could be in my life, in my
I think it's very easy to say.
A girl called me a
oh, I can.
And I missed it.
I think it's
God forbid that happen to you. God forbid. God forbid.
What was I doing? What was that? Where was I?
I think it's very easy to be like, oh, this stuff
She's
doesn't.
Like, Kemp, have you seen my What have you seen in my relationships that I missed?
I think even the Hala situation
me negatively.
You have not come to the understanding of why Hala said the things she said about religion. And the fact that you have not come to the understanding, I'm not even saying you agree with it.
And that goes back to your purpose question. That goes back to your purpose question.
To the understanding of where she's coming from proves that you are not able to connect or understand that part of her that's a huge part of her life. So you keep saying you're open to it and you can do it. You can't. You have proven you can't.
But I told her I would go to church with her once a month.
If you think that's a valid compromise, no. If you think that is a valid compromise, you are completely missing the point and not understanding who she is or what that means to her. So what you're saying is, hey, I'm going to completely ignore this part of you, but we can still have a relationship and make it work.
You can.
And you can.
I think you can.
Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying is you don't understand that people need or want or even ideally to have the most
I think you could have those matches and love
not
still
on
doesn't
certain
work.
Things. If certain things mean something to
You're
you,
like, oh,
you
let's get together because we're black. All right, we have way better chances because I want that.
What you know when you saying you think that
like the odds are just as much stacked against you in maintaining love with this person because love is not.
But this is the thing, y'all are basing it off of horrible representations of relationships.
What are you about to say?
So, you know how you say that you can still make it work even if y'all not aligned in a certain thing. He's not saying that it can't work, but would you agree that if somebody thought the same way that you did, it would be better than you being misaligned?
I always said that I would be most happy if I found.
That's all he's saying.
If I found the female version of myself,
right.
That would be
that's what he's.
So this is the thing. You keep saying you can make it work, right? Mm-hmm. However, the divorce rate in America is like 50%. You keep using this idea of relationships can be a certain way based off of what you've seen and the representations you've seen. However, they're not successful. The world is horrible in relationships right now. It's not. Right. And half these relationships that are working have abuse, have this, and it's just people making it through and struggling. And so how can you, I don't get what you're looking at saying you can just make it work. You can just, because I don't think that's true. I think there are ideal ways to go about relationships and nobody's doing it. Nobody's listening to their red flags. Nobody's doing therapy. Therapy's a new thing. People are just now doing this.
Like people are people. I guess that's my point at the end of the day. It's like people are, I think there are similar experiences in life that don't matter, like your creed or your race or your, like every race, women be tripping. All guys experience that.
Everybody be tripping. Everybody be tripping. Would you say that when you was younger, you were more picky
about relationships?
Because like that plays into it too. As we get older, you may be willing to do. So if somebody didn't believe what you believed when you was 22, 25, are you like, oh, I can make this work? Or you like, I could just go find somebody else?
I think parents or people who are looking out for your best interests know, like, probably one of the most difficult decisions you're gonna make are like who you decide to spend the rest of your life with. And so they're like, that's an important thing. So look for somebody that does like check, like it's okay to have these boxes.
Okay.
So it's like going back to what bothered me in schools and PWIs. It's like these white girls are like, oh, this guy's got to have. This one girl said, if your parents had a divorce, that's a red flag for me. If your parents don't make X amount of money, that's a red flag for me. So and it sounds like it could be from the same side. If your grandfather's parents weren't slaves, that's a red flag for me. Like,
but you would say that you got preferences like that too, right?
I don't. But I'm saying, I did develop it because I've dated people who I'm like, okay, on paper, this person matches me more.
Okay.
I'm not
that
saying
relationship
it's a red flag,
wasn't any better than dating somebody who was just like, wow, we completely don't work on paper. Like, this is the worst thing.
What I'm saying is, I know me. I've been in both relationships,
right?
And the other relationship works exceptionally better for me. Like the connection there is so different.
That makes sense.
So that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like I said, I've.
But I'm saying you can't apply that.
That's
to
a box Chevy.
But you can't apply that to the whole world.
I'm talking about me.
And criticize a movie who's trying to promote interracial relationships, right?
This is the thing.
Y'all gonna dap me before the end of this spot.
You keep saying I'm applying it to the whole world. I've said I support interracial relationships.
Yeah.
I didn't support the way this movie portrayed them because I feel like it's portraying this idea that this is filling something that black love can. That's what I have an issue with.
I still don't see how it did that, but I'd be curious to know if you think that it did that.
Yeah, I will watch it.
I don't know, man. I'm just way different when it comes to people transcending religion and transcending race. I think we're all one people, and I think there's things to appreciate about our differences, and like different cultures and being proud of your culture. And I've never felt like put into a box. Like I've always been myself. I've never felt like there was like people were looking at me negatively based on like who I was. And it just seems, you know, like a not as enjoyable as a human experience, you know.
But you've also admitted you haven't connected to those cultures.
You got
Which
different
cultures?
You got different background, man.
Like the African American, you've admitted that you haven't.
Based
had the
on how
same
you describing it
connection
to me, I'm kind of
to
glad.
the African American culture.
The way you describing it to me, it don't sound like I'm missing much.
But that's what he's saying.
I think the best example that you can relate to is, like I said, the holla thing. And if you don't understand where she's coming from the religion thing,
but that's different though, because that's religion.
That's everything.
Race is something that's like tangible. Religion is based on faith.
Race, that's what I'm saying. Race is so many systematic things, and a world built upon it is so much deeper than that. And it's things that are ingrained deep into everything we do, whether it be the way you think, the way you just literally everything is so much deeper.
I transcend all that though.
You don't transcend
because you're white.
Yeah,
no, not because I'm white, because I'm individual.
No, because really the thing is, even an individual understands that these things exist and are able to address them and understand them. You're at a place, you are relating as a white person, and this is why I don't date white people, because that's how they meet me.
No, I appreciate religion. I appreciate race. I understand how those things define people. I'm an individual, and what I mean by like I transcended it is because I understand how those things affect me and how they affect other people, but I don't let them limit me as into like who I am. I don't talk to you a certain way. I don't relate to you in a certain way because I'm black or because of my religious experience. I listen to you. But you don't hear. I know it's like I know we talk about this a lot, like perspectives and understanding that you're creating a perspective based on your experience. I try very hard in every situation not to let that limit me based on what the experience you have of me or the person that I am.
I think I'm not gonna be a lot, but you don't empathize. You don't really hear. You listen. I do agree that you listen, but I don't think you hear where people are coming from or truly connect.
You're in a relationship and you're like, baby, I had a bad day. You want her to be like, it's because you're black. Baby, traffic was bad today. It's because you're a Christian. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't understand the empathy that you're looking for.
But those are the simplified parts of a relationship, though. He's saying when it gets to the roots, like the deep part of it,
you're stuck on the surface level. And
do you understand what I'm saying though? In terms of like the holla thing?
But you're stuck on the surface level, and things like this come out and continue.
Surface level, I'm deep.
No, you're not. That's what I'm saying.
I do understand why Hollow wants to date somebody who will go to church with her every week.
If you say,
because people create these things in their mind, like the best chance for me to have a good life is for me to have kids, have a religion, and like live this life that like you can see. But she doesn't know that.
For me to have a good life is to
the
have
best
a
chances
life with
me
someone who understands me.
Hey,
the best chances with me. I do understand her.
No, you don't. You said I would go to church with you once a month. That's not understanding.
That's a compromise. In relationships, you got to compromise.
I mean, on the religion standpoint, I don't think you are. I think you have a lot of church hurt, and you don't really. I don't think you've ever had a real conversation with somebody
about it.
Yeah,
we're talking about church or Poonan.
I've had deep conversations about religion.
Yeah,
I've spent hours in thought and reflection and in prayer. Like, if you show yourself to me,
you better do it now.
I'm gonna leave.
When I open my eyes,
if I open my eyes, you better be there, or I'm
leaving.
leaving. I'm serious this time.
And you open your eyes, he was like.
But yeah, I think we had a good discussion. I wish Jay would have seen the movie because he could have approached it more from that perspective. But do you have any final thoughts on interracial relationships, huh?
Yo, do what you want, just be respectful. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to police nobody, but you know.
Have you ever dated a white girl?
I haven't.
Okay. What?
That's all we going to get to.
Why?
Can we continue to finish the show?
What? Hold on, this is new info. We were just about to wrap up, but wow, I think
that is. I'm gonna be real. I do think that's very important to this conversation.
Yeah, it is,
I don't even not even trying to stir the pot.
What do you got against white girls?
I ain't got nothing against nobody.
Why you never dated them? Why are you doing this?
Why you hurting me?
We were about to wrap up, but we hold on. Why have you never dated white women?
It just never happened.
So you would
see what we doing here?
No, it's truly. We're not trying to set you up. It really is a conversation, and you just know this is going to. Nobody.
Drew's
I truly don't
having
think
the most fun in his life right now.
I don't think anybody is going to be viewed negative for this episode. I truly think
that's cool too. I
will. I said I'm a white man.
Just as many people are going to understand the convo that are going to hate it from all of us. So
right. I've never. I just haven't connected with.
Because you went to a HBCU, didn't you? Kinda. And you grew up in Phoebus, so that was kind of like a HBCU. So you just never had the same opportunities.
On that, I'll just say.
And you grew up watching Martin. You had a Gina poster on your wall.
I've just never made the connection.
Right. That makes sense.
I don't. Yeah.
So he hasn't dated by proximity. But you would.
No, I've been around. I've been around other races.
I think it just truly boils down to preference for you.
Yeah, it's just my preference.
Because I think for some people it is just. I mean, mine's a preference, but I do think it's like a. Some people are just like, I mean, that's the culture. I enjoy it. I enjoy those people, and I get it.
We got preferences.
You've just never had a chance to date a white woman. If I set you up on a blind date, would you go?
You
don't.
I just.
They're different.
Shouts out to
Do you
my
feel
ladies,
like your family or your friends would view you differently?
Not at all.
Negatively?
No. I just ain't never. I prefer my.
Okay.
I never made it over there. I don't do. Right. I ain't win.
Yeah.
It's just never been. I've never actively was like, yo, I want to go.
Miss out if you want to.
If there's any episode that you go into the comments and you share your thoughts on and you start a conversation on, like, make this the one. So drop it down in our comments.
Yeah, we want feedback.
We be getting like a lot of views on these episodes and not that many comments. So literally start a discussion down there. Let us know what you think. Yeah. Whether this is on
interracial relationships, comment.
No, yeah. So really start a conversation. Let's blow up those comments this episode.
Yeah, and if you're white and you're a female and you're a subscriber, Jay's there,
It's too funny. Shouts out to everybody, man. Yeah. I ain't tripping on nobody.
Mm-hmm. But continue to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. White girls.
Not on Black History Month. Damn.
Jay with the jokes, funny guy. Drew with the blah blah, telling crazy stories for a lifetime. Kemp got the wisdom for him, like nothing's ever that serious. And if you don't listen, then you're delirious.
Bro, you can't say that. Why not?
Because we're live.
I just said nothing's ever that serious.